Hi, I'm Haley Kershner, Customer Marketing Manager at Anchor. And today we have one very special friend on the podcast, Sam Hallburn. And Sam, why don't you start by introducing yourself?
Hi, Haley. I'm Sam. I am the owner of three firms that all use Anchor. PBS Accounting and Tax Solutions, Simplified Accounting Management, and my newest firm just launched October 1st is Trail to Summit Bookkeeping. And I've been, oh my gosh, this is year 10 of me being a firm owner.
Sounds like you have a lot of free time on your hands.
Yes, I don't know what to do with myself, so I keep creating more companies.
And Sam, I'm going to ask you a few rapid fire questions just to kind of do something fun before we get into the really deep stuff, if you may.
Sure.
Um, are you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Early bird or night owl?
Oh, early bird. I
Favorite
flopped. About mid-30s, I flopped from night owl to early bird, but definitely I can hardly stay awake past like 8:30 or 9 now. It's pretty bad.
favorite season?
Oh god. I don't know. All of them. I love all of them, but I'm gonna go fall in general, like my most favorite.
Yes, I love fall too. It's definitely
Mhm.
my favorite. We don't get much of that in Austin here. I miss it.
Right. I know. Montana gets very short falls. It goes to winter pretty fast. California gets really long summers, so I get over summer. But Montana summers are the best summer you'll ever have anywhere on the planet, I think. So it just depends, I guess, where I'm at.
Road trip or plane trip?
Oh, these are good ones. Let's go plain.
Netflix binge or a good book?
Netflix,
One food you could eat every single day.
pizza, or Mexican.
Pizza. Ooh, yes, me too. I want to start from the beginning. So you have three firms. Let's talk about what led you to start each one and a
Uh-huh.
little bit about your background and if you expected to ever do what you're doing now.
Yeah, great. So I was working in banking and lending, and my customers would come to me for whatever they needed, loans, lines of credits. I was B2B. So I would ask them to produce their financials and for me to get to underwriting. And a lot of them had this like deer in the headlight. What does that mean? How do I get that to you? What does it even mean? Or what is it? And so I started going to my banking customers' offices on my days off, on my work breaks, on my before work if I started a later shift, weekends, just to kind of help them get me what I needed to help them. Through that process though, and this was over years. I did this for several years, voluntarily just trying to help my customers. Then I started realizing, gosh, I really enjoy the outcome. I'm shortcutting a lot of the details, but I really enjoyed the outcome of helping somebody. And then I started seeing how they were like, oh, now that I know this, I can make that decision or this decision, or I had no idea I was losing this much money or, whatever it is, because I just thought if I have bank money in the bank, then I have money. And so over time, people started asking me, can you come back and do this again? Can we have you just stay on and keep doing this? Can we hire you to do this part time? And of course, I didn't say no to anybody. It's a problem. It's a syndrome I have. I can't say no. So I just said yes to everybody. I started working part time as a total side hustle. And then I realized I really didn't want to do what I was doing anymore one day. And I had a really bad corporate America experience. I decided that day at work, I'm giving my 30-day notice tomorrow. I didn't tell a single soul I was going to do it. I just jumped off the cliff, handed in my notice of resignation, and started a bookkeeping firm, knowing that thinking I was going to have all this free time and all this this life of this entrepreneurial dream, right? Like where I can just barely work and make money and it was going to be grand. And, it has been grand, but I don't have any free time. I missed the boat on that one. So originally I started to get out of corporate America and be on my own and do something more fulfilling than what I was doing. And then several years in, probably I think 5 years in, yeah, that was 2015. In 2021, I founded my consulting firm, which is Simplified Accounting Management. And that was a direct result of feedback from people who would over and over and over say to me, why can't somebody just show me how to do this right? Isn't there anyone out there that can teach me how to do this? Isn't there? And I would be helping people as well as doing the bookkeeping. So it was getting kind of confusing. Like, what do you do? Do you teach? Do you consult? Do you train? Do you do the bookkeeping? And it was just yes, yes, yes. So to
Mhm.
divide the two and put a really, a line in the sand around what company does what, I created Sam Inc. And that's what I do all of my speaking and training and consulting through. And then over the years, PBS, which is my baby, that's my original firm. I'll tell
Mhm.
you what it used to stand for. It used to stand for Pampered by Sam because I am still to this day, a pampered chef consultant, and I couldn't move past that email address. I was like, I don't know what else to call myself. So I started Pampered by Sam, Mobile Office Business Solutions. Seriously, that was my whole name. And that was the beginning of PBS. And then over time, as was scaling and I got employees, people would ask like, well, who's Sam if I'm dealing with you, or who's this Sam person? So I said, okay, we got to take my name out of the company's name now, and we became PBS acronym. And then over time it really became um the message of our core foundation, which is people, business, service. So we're all people first, and we have a people first, human first culture internally with our team as well as with our customers. We all have a
Mhm.
business second, our customers and us, and we all provide a service last. We not in the opposite order. And that rebranding was based on having several nightmare clients that just pushed us into corners where we were like, we're just not going to deal with this anymore. We can't
Mhm.
handle it. If you don't treat us like a human being first, you're out. Like, we don't even want to deal with you. So that kind of was like an internal culture as well as like how we want to be treated from our clients. Rebranding, and that's how we are now, PBS Accounting and Tax Solutions. And Trail to Summit really is a passion project based on everything I've learned over the last 10 years of being an educator and having an accounting firm, because PBS has scaled to where its ideal client is, in the $2 to $10 million range. But I've learned so much about the mom and pops and how we can help them through education when they're first starting out, that I'm really taking it back to fundamentals with Trail to Summit, and it's for the smaller businesses or new startups once again. And there you go.
And I have to say, you are an amazing educator. I saw you on stage at Scaling New
Oh,
Heights with Candy, and you just
yeah.
speak so eloquently on stage, and you have a very, very good talent.
Oh, thank you.
How often do you do that every year?
Okay, well, full transparency, 25 blew up for me. I don't know what happened to 25, but the stars all aligned, and I have done more speaking and educating this year than I've ever done ever. So this year I did 2 minimum events a month. Like, we're in October. I'm going to Charlotte next week for the Build Expo, which is a circuit I speak at, training and consulting to contractors, which is our kind of our niche market. And then obviously I go to Connect at the end of the month as well. So there's been 1 to 2 every single month. A lot
Mhm.
more of them this year were accounting conferences, where I'm now starting to speak more to my peers, which is so nerve-wracking to me. But I'm actually really loving when I can help someone that comes up to me afterwards and says, "Oh my gosh, that's exactly what I needed. Thank you so much. Thank you for putting it in real words or real ways. Thank you for making it actionable." Like, because I remember
Mhm.
not having a single person to help me. I had no mentors. I took the leap of faith on my own. I didn't even know anything about business, running a business. I just knew bookkeeping. So I remember all that, and I want to help people as much as I can. So now I'm helping more accounting professionals too.
I wanna go back a little bit, to those early days of when you were in your beginning of your career. You said that you worked corporate and you put in your
Mhm.
resignation and you
Uh-huh.
started your own business.
Uh-huh.
What were some of the things that no one really warned you about, or some of the really hard things that you went through and learned from?
Yeah, well, the 24/7-ness about being a business owner, I didn't I didn't know was a thing. Because you don't really hear about that. You hear all the fun, shiny stories when you're not in the entrepreneurial world, when you're just a W-2 employee and you look out into who's doing what, and all you see is, oh, they're on vacation, or oh, they're having lunch at, on a Tuesday, a brunch with their friends, and they're so free. And that really appealed to me. But no one was talking about, or I didn't know, I wasn't on the inside enough to know that you might be on vacation, but you're glued to your laptop the whole time, or you're putting out fires from a hotel room instead of from your own desk, or it doesn't stop. It's constant worry, constant um yeah, oh gosh, thought on your business at all times. Hiring, firing, product launches, systems, money, like cash flow. I really genuinely thought when I quit my job that I was going to probably suffer for a couple years financially, because I just figured I was taking this giant leap of faith and I had no idea where it was going to go. Within 2 weeks of doing this on my own, I had doubled what I was making at the bank. So my first
Wow.
initial welcome into entrepreneurialism was very positive cash flow wise, but over the years, it has been a struggle because as you scale, like I didn't price right. So I was only pricing like it was me, and I was completely undervaluing
Mm.
my service because I wanted everyone to say yes, because I was scared of, you know, not eating, or I was scared of not being able to pay my bills. So I wanted the quantity of the yeses. And I have significantly learned the lesson of you want quality, not quantity. But I didn't know what I didn't know. So I scaled rapidly. It was really hard to balance that. I mean, it sounds fun and all, but the reality of 12 to 15-hour days every day because you can't fit it all in is not good on you. The cash flow when you start hiring or trying to hire, and they want to be paid for their work, now you have to take that out of your pocket if you're already underpricing. It's just a snowball effect. So I really wasn't prepared for the scale of owning a business and going from a one-man band to, what we are today as rapidly as I did.
Mm.
It was really hard.
Do you think having a resource back then, like Unbalanced, would have made you feel less alone and maybe given you some tips or advice or learning opportunities?
And oh, yes, and that's most of the reason why Candy and I wanted to start this, is
Mm.
because I had nothing. I had no one. I didn't even know who to reach out to. The only person I had was my payroll rep, Noah Rainey, who him and I just became really chummy over years of working together. And he started introducing me to people he knew that did what I do. But that was years in that I even had that connection, or him as my rep.
Mm.
So yes, if I had had a tool that could have exposed me to the fact that I wasn't the biggest loser, that I wasn't doing things all completely wrong, or when I was doing things wrong, I could have learned how to turn that around and do things the right way, or a better way, or a more systematic way. Yes, it would
Yeah.
have helped me so, so much. And I finally started seeking mentorship like 6 years in, which in my opinion was way too late. Like, I don't know how many tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars I've lost by not having sought mentorship earlier in my career.
And for the audience, those that don't know, Unbalanced is a podcast that Sam Hallburn is one of the hosts on. And we started Unbalanced in, was it May,
May.
Sam?
Yep. May.
May. And we have about 24 episodes now, which is crazy. Do you want to give a little bit of background on Unbalanced and why people should tune in every week?
Yeah. So Unbalanced is a product of me lying in bed listening to Candy and Heather Satterley talk, Candy Below and Heather Satterley talk on the Woodard podcast about what they were calling their dirty little secrets, which was stories that they both were sharing about how it's not always roses and rainbows. And we don't hear those stories. We only hear the look at me go, or we only see the shiny Instagram posts. And I was laying there and I was like, and Candy and I had already bonded over this exact topic of like when the crap hits the fan and you have no one to talk to about it, or you're embarrassed, or you're ashamed, or you're all
Mhm.
these things that we feel. We had bonded over that sentiment several years before it at a workshop. And then they had that episode, and I just was like, this has to be a thing. We cannot be the only three people in this industry that have gone through all these terrible things and seen that and been down in the dumps, right? It has to be more than us. And so I just threw it out there. I sent a text message out to both of them, and I was like, this needs to be a thing. Can we do this? They both said yes. And then eventually Heather had to say, you know what? I don't have the time, but I'll support you 100%. And here we are. Candy and I are doing Unbalanced, but we wanted to bring the real life, true stories of firm ownership to our community simply because you don't hear them often. And we both have been in positions where people look at us like we're a certain way, or certain, I guess, success. And I hate to say that about myself, but because I don't think of
Mhm.
myself that way, but we've heard the comments. Oh, you do so good on social media. You must be, blah, blah, blah. And it's not true. It's not true. We all have bad days. We all go through hard times. Candy's lost homes. I've been almost to the point of losing my home. I've had cars repossessed over the years. Like, it's just not all fun and games. And the hiring and firing of people stealing from you, all the things you never saw coming when you thought, I'm going to start a business, I'm going to be a bookkeeper or a tax professional, people getting sued, and the stuff that is real, that if you had just known, maybe you could have circumvented it, like you were just saying about
Mhm.
me. Or if you're going through it, knowing you're not alone, or how to get out of it, or being able to have a resource to reach out to, like, I need help with this, I'm going through this challenge. But also just learning from everybody who's gone through it, got through it, and now is succeeding because of what they've learned through their challenges.
Yeah, and we received such great feedback so far. People just saying, I feel so less alone. I thought I was the only one.
Yep.
So, highly recommend tune in every Tuesday. Our episodes are on Spotify.
Yes.
And Sam, I do want to go into what are you most proud of right now, business wise or personally?
Okay. So business wise, I just had this like epiphany last week, actually. I had the best week. And part of it is because I feel like I'm finally getting balance in my life, if you can imagine. Even though I'm the host of Unbalanced, I'm finally getting some balance. And I feel like it's 10 years of my efforts is finally like actually everything's coming and settling the way it's supposed to. And I'm most proud that I have a firm now that really makes an effort to put people first. We have a people first culture, like I said, internally and externally. And we have all ideal clients at this moment in time. And very few firms can say that, I think, at any given
Mhm.
time. Like every single person we have values what we do, like loves us, we love them. They they're learning more and more through us how they should be running their businesses, and they're thankful and they're grateful. I think in 2 weeks we've gotten over a dozen referrals and several like complimentary like emails, text messages, thank yous, just out of the blue all of a sudden. It just really feels like the stars are aligning for us. And I'm really proud of that because we have worked our butts off internally, updating systems, implementing SOPs, setting boundaries, getting rid of unideal clients, working the processes to into the ground to make sure that they're the best for everyone. And I just really love how what it feels like right now. And then personally, I just signed up for a Mount Everest Base Camp hike next year. So I'm really proud to like get back out there and make that a priority in my life, hiking a priority in my life.
I know when we discussed hiking for a leve, you had done mini trips.
Yeah, this year I unfortunately haven't done nearly what I would have liked to have done. It just, like I said, it kind of blew up for me travel wise, and it's just been hard to stay consistent, which is part of the reason I
Mhm.
think I forced myself into such a big commitment so that I had to figure it out. It seems to be my way. Um, so yeah, I signed up for this. It's a leadership program that ends with a base camp hike to Mount Everest. So it's not just the hike, it's the whole experience through and leadership development over over 6 months starting in March of next year. but I haven't done it as much as I would like to have, so therefore now I'm
Mm.
forced to have to make it a priority, so that I'm in the right shape for the trek.
Yeah, you have to put time in your calendar. Hiking
That's
time for
right.
Sam.
Sam's out of office hiking somewhere.
Well, Sam, is there anything that I didn't ask you that you wish I would have today, or anything else that you would like to talk about or end on?
No, I just think it's really important that everyone does find community, mentorship, all these groups. There's so many groups out there. Some are paid, some are not. I genuinely feel like it's the best investment I've ever made in my business to have sought out these business mentorships because I didn't know what I didn't know and I had no one to tell me. So nobody in my life was really an entrepreneur to the extent I was. I know people in direct sales and people with side hustles, but I didn't know anybody that like put their whole life into owning and running a business when I started one. Now I know all of those people almost exclusively. But I really could have saved myself so much heartache, stress, pressure, cash flow issues, scaling issues if I had sought it earlier on. And I
Mm,
know a lot of people think, well, I can't afford it. There's so many people. If you go to conferences and you just afford the conference, you are going to be exposed to so many people who will just help you out of the kindness of their heart. And you'll be involved in
mm.
groups and you'll learn about different organizations you can join and different ways you can get that help. So just community and reach out is huge because I waited way too long and I did it and now I can help people through it, but if I can help someone not have to do that, that would be great.
And Sam, before we wrap up, I like to end each episode by passing along a little piece of advice from one guest to the next. And do you happen to know Tyler Otto?
No?
The last chat that we had, I think I just laughed at the whole entire episode. He's hilarious. And he gave
Okay.
two pieces of advice, actually. The first being, don't sweat the petty things and don't pet the sweaty things, which
Ah! Yes, I
and the
agree.
second and the second being a little bit more on the professional side, be as lucky as possible. Preparedness meets opportunity by Seneca. So we have two pieces of advice, complete opposite ends of the spectrum. Take one, take none, or take both, whatever, whatever you want to do. Now
Oh,
it's
that's
your turn. What's one piece of advice you'd leave for the next guest?
um, design your life the way you want it to make you happy because no one else is going to. No one else is going to come in and care about what you want and what you need. Even your own spouse or your kids and they're all looking out for them, number 1, and you have to do the same.
Design your life.
Yeah,
Yeah,
design your life.
exactly. World is your oyster, right?
Yeah. And honestly, when you're happy, you make other people happy and you can give yourself to others in a much better way when you're happy and you're fulfilled. So it's not selfish
Mm.
because you actually can give so much more of you when you are happy.
Thank you so much, Sam. I'm so
Yeah,
glad we
thank
got to do this
you.
today.
Yeah, me too. Thanks for inviting me.